down a bit more. I think we're going to get agreement here. Let me just try and explain this. All right. So there's a tree outside here. Yeah. All right. Now, this tree, it's a living tree, and would you agree with me that it requires sunlight in order to exist?
Yes, I do. Yeah, for the tree, yes.
All right. Now, the sunlight comes from the sun.
Yes, yes.
And so the sunlight requires the sun in order for it to exist.
Yes, the sunlight obviously needs the sun to exist, yes.
Yeah. So the tree is dependent on the sunlight is dependent on the sun, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right. And are we talking about continued existence, or are we talking about causation?
Well, so far we know that the sun was created through a coalescence of hydrogen.
No, I'm not talking about the sun. I'm talking about the sun, the tree, and the sunlight.
Well, the sunlight is needed for the continued existence of the tree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the sunlight is required for the continued existence of the tree, and the tree is required for the sun is required for the continued existence of the sunlight.
Yes, because the sunlight obviously needs the sun to continue to exist. Yeah.
All right. Now we can go further than that, right? So the sun, you are just going into the details, the cosmological details as to what it requires for its continued existence. You were talking about hydrogen, correct?
The theory is the sun was created by a coalescence of hydrogen. We know most of the sun is hydrogen. I've not seen any evidence that there is something
so without hydrogen,
needs
the sun
to continue to exist.
Yeah.
Whatever caused the hydrogen in the first place does not need to continue to exist now.
No problem, but the sun requires hydrogen in order to exist. If there was no hydrogen, there would be no sun.
Yeah, exactly, because the sun is mostly hydrogen anyway. It's about 80% hydrogen.
All right, very good. So the sun requires hydrogen in order to exist.
Yes, it's 80% hydrogen, and it was 100% hydrogen at its beginning. So yes,
Are you a science teacher? You sound very informed on the topic, Hassan.
I like to read a lot of science. Yeah.
All right, very nice. Okay, so hydrogen now, we can keep going backwards. Okay, it requires the universe in order to exist.
Yes, because at the Big Bang, it was mainly an explosion, and well, as I said, it was an expansion, and most of that original part was hydrogen, and then later elements formed later.
And all these stages that we're talking about continued existence, right?
We're talking about there's some continued. So there was hydrogen, then it coalesced into forming various types of stars, which then exploded, and in those explosions, heavier elements were created. Yes.
It's very good. Thank you very much. There's things you're telling me that I didn't know. Yeah, very nice. So at all these points, we determine from the tree to the leaves of the tree, all the way up to the universe, that at every stage, for the continued existence of the thing, we require another thing, right?
There was a chain, yes.
Yes. Now the question is, the universe itself, does it require something else in order to exist, or do you think it does not require? It just requires itself. It doesn't require anything else in order to exist.
I've not seen any evidence that suggests that the universe needed something to continue to exist after it was initially created.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Now, the question is this: is that anything with limited variables, okay, like the sun has limited variables, yeah? Anything with limited variables, is it reasonable for me to say that anything with limited variables requires something else in order to exist? Like the sun, for example, the tree?
Okay, so looking at, I So limited variables. There's no, I mean, the tree, yes, needs the sun to continue to exist. The sun has limited variables in terms of its physics, but, and the sun was formed from the coalescing hydrogen, but there's no evidence that since the sun was formed, so it needed something else to continue to exist to maintain it.
You mentioned hydrogen, though, right?
Yeah, but hydrogen is what it's made of, yes.
Yeah, so if there was no hydrogen, there would be no sun.
If there was no hydrogen, there'd be no sun, but the hydrogen was there to create the sun. The hydrogen's not there to, is not there to maintain that sun.
I get what you're saying, but you know, you would agree with me that if hydrogen didn't continue to exist, the sun couldn't continue to exist.
If hydrogen didn't exist, I mean, if hydrogen in the sun, say, disappeared, then the reactions would stop. So yes, it's because it's what it's made of. Yes.
Yeah, and likewise, if the universe didn't continue to exist, hydrogen within it could you say that can continue to exist?
So if the universe continued to exist, the hydrogen say would continue to exist.
Right. So now we're asking the question, right? Or the logic that we're applying at every stage here, right? My question is, because why are we applying this logic? Because we know the tree has limited variables. It's limited, right? So it requires the sun, which is also limited. So it requires hydrogen, right, in order to be. And now we're saying, is the universe, does it have limited variables or unlimited variables?
The universe, I mean, as far as we know, it follows physical laws that are part of it. Things like gravity, strong force, nuclear forces. But we don't have any evidence that there's something that it's dependent on anything else.
No, I'm saying, is the universe made up of a limited set of things, or is it not made up of a limited set of things? Is it unlimited? Has it got infinite amount of things in it? Is there an infinite amount of hydrogen, oxygen, whatever it is you want to say? Has it got an infinite amount of X in it, or does it have a finite amount of these?
It's not an infinite amount. It's a set amount, and the universe is expanding. But you know, it can't be. It'd be illogical for it to have an infinite amount of
good. So if it's not infinite, it must be finite, right?
There's a finite amount of matter and energy in the universe, I would say, yes.
Yes. So just like there was a finite amount of matter and energy in the tree, and just as there was a finite amount of matter and energy in the sun, and there is now, we've established a finite amount of matter in the universe itself. And in all three cases, we've determined where there is a finite amount of matter and energy in something, it's always going to require something else in order to exist. So is it reasonable for us to say now that the universe, because it has a finite amount of matter and energy, just like the tree and the sun, also it follows the same pathway, if you like, and it requires something else in order to exist?
I wouldn't say that's absolutely necessary, because we don't know. The limits of science don't say that. All we know is what's in the universe. We don't, you know, I agree that the universe has got a finite amount of matter and energy from what we know. But you can't extrapolate that far backwards or outside of the universe to say that because of that, there must be something maintaining that.
Okay, so you've got two options. Either the universe is independent or the universe is dependent. What we're saying is that anything made up of limited variables, matter and energy, to use your words, is dependent. If we agree that the universe is made up of matter and energy, and could we not just say that the universe therefore is dependent?
No, I think that's too much of a jump to go. I think the best thing to say is we don't know yet.
Okay, but can I just ask you a question, Isan? I'm following it. Why do you believe that the independent cause of the universe disappeared?
I didn't say that the independent cause. I just say that we don't know.
You did. You
yet.
said it could have gone or could have disappeared.
No, yeah.
I mean, do you understand the nature of what we're saying?
Gone.
What?
I'm saying it could have gone. It could still be here. It could have gone. We don't have any evidence to suggest either.
Right. So just in the same way that the universe could still be dependent upon that cause.
It's a possibility, but don't have any evidence either way.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I said we're at a stalemate, and then we bring revelation to the table. So all we're saying is it unreasonable for us to hold that position?
You can bring revelation, or you can just say
no. But is it unreasonable for us to hold that position?
I would say that if you don't know, it's fine to say you don't know, but I wouldn't.
Is it unreasonable?
Just choose anything to fill the gap.
No, we're not doing that. Is it unreasonable to believe that because we see, like Brother Hijab Masha did a beautiful job explaining from the tree to the sun to the hydrogen to the universe and such, we see this pattern. Is it unreasonable to believe this pattern continues? And that the universe, because we can't demonstrate the universe is independent, can we? Or can we?
I think the most reasonable position is just to say that we don't know.
No, that's what you say. And then if you don't know, then you shouldn't say we're wrong to hold that position, then should you?
Well, I'm saying
I just make a quick point?
So you can head towards a particular area, but you'd be completely wrong to say with absolute certainty one way and have complete faith in that one way when there's no evidence to go one way or the other. So
no, but if we're saying that uncaused cause has always existed, that's what we're saying. You're trying to say it's unreasonable. You think it's unreasonable to believe. You're saying it. If we believe an uncaused cause has always existed, you're trying to say it's unreasonable for us still to believe it still exists.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's unreasonable to believe it still exists. I'm saying it's unreasonable to have total unchanging faith that that's the case. Even if that is what you're actually saying, if you're saying that you're inclined to believe that way, then that's understandable. But if you're going to go along the line of having total faith that this is the uncaused cause is still there and is still maintaining, then I'd ask for what evidence you have for that.
No. I'll say it again to you. Is it unreasonable for us to believe this?
Unreasonable for you to believe in an uncaused cause that's still maintaining?
No, for me to believe in an uncaused cause of everything that exists still existing.
No, I wouldn't say it's unreasonable for you to have some sort of belief that could still exist. No, but I would suggest holding off. Having total faith without more evidence.
No, but then, like I say to you, I'm not sorry. I'm going to let you in now. That's what I say to you. So when we're at this position, then how can we find out what the reality is? And obviously, we believe the uncaused cause has revealed its nature. And that's what fills in the gaps. Not because we don't know and we just put God there. We believe in revelation, which is again is another story and another stream. But the point here is this: we're just establishing the foundations of what we believe, and we're demonstrating that it's not illogically rational or unreasonable to hold this position. And it is irrational for an atheist.
I accept your opinion.
Yeah, but it is irrational. One second. It is irrational for an atheist who doesn't know to tell us our position is false, wrong, irrational, illogical, because they themselves don't know. Would you agree with that?
I agree. If we don't know, it would be wrong to say that you are completely
not just wrong.
All I'm saying is
not just wrong. It'd be irrational.
We would say is, you wouldn't have the evidence. Okay, let's put it another way. If you look at, say, Chinese mythology, they believe everything was created by Pangu. Would you say that was irrational?
I would ask why they believe everything was created by Pangu.
Can I speak on that, please? So I think, sorry, Hassan. So I think just to answer this particular. So I said before, I think just a few moments ago, that multiple theories of a concept don't make that concept unreal. The fact that you can can have different theories about how something is, it doesn't take that thing away. So that we have a way of explaining which is probably not the point here, of why there are different concepts of the creator. That's not really the issue. Brother Hijab had a discussion with you, quite profound in the sense that he established what I was trying to sort of say, in that the dependencies are continued dependencies, and he sort of showed that by going through this this sort of working from the sort of the plant all the way through to the sunlight and to the sun, and then to the hydrogen.
And I said that you could extrapolate that to the universe.
Yeah. So that's where precisely. So that's where that you stopped. Now, what I would say is, this is similar to when I'm speaking to some atheists who talk about causality, and then when it comes to the universe, they say that causality may not actually exist. They sort of take away this principle that was being applied, almost in an ad hoc way, it seems to me. Whereas what I'm doing in terms of trying to establish my thought process is having a consistent principle and applying a coherent method without an ad hoc change, because I get to a stage where there are physical limitations in terms of scientific approach, because science is just focused on nature. It's a heuristic approach in the sense that it makes models but doesn't claim to know what reality is. It makes models of that reality that we can apply and we can use. So I would say that the position that we're taking is a consistent one, in that we can see that these are continued dependencies or the continued contingencies that go on, and then we end up in that same scenario of coming to a fundamental contingency, fundamental thing that would be necessarily in contingent and a necessary thing. Now, what are the qualities of this thing is probably the things that we need to probably talk about a little bit, and maybe that's not what this stream is for. And I would really have enjoyed talking to you, actually, and I'd like you to come on to our other streams when we talk about these things.
Thank you.
One more thing before you switch that, I just wanted to ask Hassan a question that maybe will help.